Rostermania Part 2 is over. Red Reserve, Luminosity, Splice, Team Caliber, and Optic Gaming have all made changes. They are now locked and loaded for the rest of the year, and tonight on Trading Shots, we'll be grading those moves. I'm still the host, Merc, and joined with me are Maven and Benson. Let's get right to it. This Rostermania wouldn't have been as epic if Optic Gaming didn't make a splash, and as expected, we saw it happen. Karma and Formal are out, Octane and Methods are in. Crimsic, Scump, Octane, and Methods are the new Optic Gaming roster. They will look to bounce back this season after a couple of rough months. Maven, you won last week. Let's start with you. What do you think of the new Optic Gaming?
Oh, thank you. I'm going to try and break this down piece by piece because I've had a lot of thoughts with this particular trade. Obviously, this deal goes down as one of the biggest in Call of Duty history. Let's start with the first piece. This team had to change, right? We know there were internal struggles with the squad. They needed to make a move. The question was, could they make a move that worked out? So the first part of this I would look as Octane for Formal. I think Formal's one of the greatest players of all time, but you feel good about that if you're Optic. Octane has been an absolute beast. He's one of the few players in the world that can go gun on gun with somebody like Formal. You feel great about that. Now, the next part of it is where it's really interesting for me. So you end up getting Methods, and now I had heard rumors that Optic had gone after different players, like your Zumas, your Kinney, some different sub-players, because obviously up to this point, except for the beginning of the year and the most recent tournament, it's been kind of a 3 sub meta for most maps, 4 even on some. So you wanted to get another aggressive, strong sub. They were not able to do that, and you land with Methods. Now, this is where I'm split, and this is ultimately why I'm going to give this, overall, I'm going to grade it a B. Because if you are Methods, could there be a role issue if the game picks up? Absolutely. But right now, 2 ARs is working out with the current meta, so you're going to feel good there. And if you had to pick one player, personality-wise, that is a great fit for Optic that can push out content, absolutely blow up his brand, I think Methods is on a very short list of people that I love in that spot. So overall, I give it a B. I mean, you hate to see the team fall apart. Obviously, it's the greatest of all time, but with all the different things that could have happened, I feel pretty good about it.
So Maven, I mean, you touched on the content, yes, but Optic Gaming fans want the win. Are you sure you believe in Methods to get a couple of championships?
Well, that's what's interesting. So, you know, I kind of mentioned the meta stuff, right? If it stays this 2 AR meta, do I think that team can win tournaments? I do. I actually think for like the next event, you feel good about it.
Okay.
The start of next year, you feel good about it. When you talk about how the beginning of games are very slow, a lot more AR heavy, my worry is come champs, because if what happens like what usually does with COD, once there's a meta shift, it gets faster and faster, more and more subs come out. If a couple months from now, champs is coming around, that period right there is I guess the part I'm most nervous about, but it all depends. I mean, I don't know the answer to that. Like with the meta change right before Seattle, is it going to like the pace pick back up to where it was pre-Seattle? I think so, but that's why it's so hard. I don't know, Joe. It's kind of
so you're going to give it a B.
I'm confused because you said you feel comfortable about it, then you say you feel comfortable about them going into next year.
It's like certain periods I feel good. It depends on the meta.
Did you feel comfortable about Optic Gaming coming into this year as well? Like, of course, everyone did, and look what happened. The greatest Call of Duty dynasty ever basically imploded upon themselves and collapsed. To kind of talk about the upgrades, if you will, or whether they are upgrades, I think Octane for Formal, that is an upgrade. In every way, shape, and form this year, that is an upgrade. You cannot argue that.
At this exact moment in time.
Octane has been the better AR throughout the year. So for a flat-out upgrade, yes, that is an improvement. Then you talk about Methods. Now, this is an interesting one because he wasn't the first choice. You only need to watch Vision and kind of you hear Octane say, well, you weren't the second choice either. This wasn't a player that was high up on that list. Is he a good player? Absolutely. He's won an MVP award and a championship already this year. But is he the right fit for the team? Does he make them a championship-winning team? Well, he has good vibes with Scump. Obviously, any old fans can go all the way back to MW3. He mentioned it in Vision as well. Has great history with the brand, both good and bad.
Yeah, just a little bit. There's some bad there. There's some bad.
There definitely is, but is he a championship caliber, or does he make that a championship caliber team? That's the question. At the end of the day, that's what we judge these rosters for. You gave them a B. I'm going to give them a B as well, Clint, because I don't think they're going to win a championship.
I just think
they're just not going to do it.
So much of this comes down to, well, 2 things. Like where the meta is, where the pace of the game is, right? Which we don't know how it's going to shift exactly. I just don't know the answer to that. And Methods, I mean, who knows, man? Maybe this guy's going to pull out a sub and be dominant. Maybe he'll be able to play like a flex type role and be amazing. We just haven't seen him do that this year, and I'm not comfortable going all the way to his gameplay back in Black Ops 2. It's too long.
We have seen him do it this year. He did play the flex role at CWL Dallas a long time ago, but it has happened. He had some solid stats there, so he is comfortable with the PPSH.
Here's the thing. This is the last chance of changing your roster. There's no more. This is your team for champs, the biggest event of the year, the staple.
And that's
of
the one I'm worried
about.
So
exactly, and you're worried about it. I don't care if they come out and they win Anaheim, for example. Great, cool. you won a major. That is great.
All right, guys. All right. So we're gonna have to move on. So you guys give them what? Both a B from both of our players. I'm gonna both give you 1 point. I think it's a tie. The reason is you both with the same grade, but there's a point you missed. You didn't talk about Methods. He doesn't have to be a star player. You have guys like Scump and Krim on the team who are two of the best Call of Duty players of all time. If Methods plays a fantastic role, that's all he has to do. This team can win championships. Next team to grade is Team Caliber. They have opted to make another change, and they let Methods walk in favor of Enable from Lightning Pandas. Kenny, Accuracy, Pharaoh, and Enable will now represent Team Caliber for the rest of the year. Ben, let's start with you. What do you think of the move?
It's a tough one. You know, you talk about TK as a whole. They started the year so well. Then they went to the second event. You're
pretty
thinking,
well. Yeah, back to back.
Wow. Back-to-back champs. Everything was going right. Then, of course, the man sat opposite me. Good old Maven had to go and put the curse on, didn't he? This team will never win an event.
Don't give him the props for that, by the way.
I mean, I'm just saying it. He said it, and so far the prophecy, if you will, has been true.
It's the only thing I've gotten right, Ben. So.
Pretty much, yes. And I'll give you the props for it because you called it. Have they looked anywhere near that fashion since? No. You saw their performance in the Pro League. Didn't look convincing at all. Even individual statistics, everything was going downhill. They make a roster change. You're thinking, all right, well now, really, it's tough to think that this squad could win a championship. Then another change comes through, and no disrespect to Enable, fantastic player of the past few years, but you go back to boots on the ground, and it was a similar argument I had with Formula. I think it was a couple of episodes ago. You haven't seen a high-quality Enable this year. You just haven't. It's as simple as that. His individual performance, it feels like something isn't right. Something is maybe missing from his gameplay. Can he find it again? Sure, absolutely. He's a professional player. He's been competing in esports for what seems like almost a decade at this point. Fantastic player. But does he make that TK team a championship caliber team as of right now when we're recording this? No, he doesn't. I'm sorry. I would love to say he does. I lived with the guy, for Christ's sake. He's a great friend of mine, but I graded a D. I don't think TK have a chance of winning COD champs, to be completely honest. Can they maybe cause some upsets? Yes, they have the quality there. But are they a COD champs winning team? That's what I'm grading all these rosters on because, as I mentioned, this is the last time you can change your roster before champs. And I don't think they're anywhere close to winning COD champs right now.
All right, I'm going to give it a slightly better. But I do mirror a lot of what you said. I'm going to go C-. The main reason...
Come on, now you're just...
Slightly better.
You're being petty.
And no, it's different. I'll take it. It's different.
Slightly better, just because I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Enable a little bit. He is one of the greatest console FPS players of all time.
Sure.
But the reason you can't give this a very positive score in my eyes is just because if you look at player to player, just Methods to Enable, and this year you got worse. There's no real way around that. But from the role standpoint, back when it was Chino and Accuracy, there was some back and forth on who was comfortable where. Maybe Enable is now that flex. Accuracy is full-time AR, and maybe we have some kind of improvement. It's tough because I don't think this is Team Caliber's fault as an organization. Optic Gaming came and knocking, they took Methods away. It's not really their fault, and you didn't have a ton of options, but if we're purely grading on kind of player for player, what four-man squad you had before and after, I don't see how you can make it that positive. You just can't. That's not really a knock to Enable. He's a great player. He's one of the all-time greats. But right now, at this current moment, he is not a better player than Methods. I don't think anyone can say that he is.
Such a breakout star throughout the year. I'm going to go ahead and give 1 point to Clint. I'm going to give 2 points to Ben. I felt like Ben just went into it a little bit more with Enable. The big thing I think for Enable is that he's taking such a back seat, right? Like he needs to do that. Every single team, FaZe, EG, he's tried to be a leader. He's tried to be a captain, and it put him in some team trouble. I would love for him to just become that star player once again. Just allow his teams. Kenny and Accuracy, they've won twice this year. Just listen to them. Play the best, that you can play, and we'll see what Team Caliber is able to do. Red Reserve was the first team to officially break the news of their new squad, and they will consist of Rated, Zero, Joe, and former Unilad star Scraps. Red is hoping this team will fix their chemistry issues and get them some more consistent finishes. Maven, what grade are you giving this move for Red Reserve?
A+. You know that I've mentioned many times. I'm a guy that my first focus is talent, intangibles come second. Josh is a guy that has had a great career. He is a very good player. He does bring a lot of intangibles. The leadership role he brings when he fixed the Epsilon team back in IW. There's a lot that this guy can do. But
an A+ though? Scraps an A+?
Scraps is we're watching a superstar be born when you're talking about European players. And I think one thing that's held a team like Red back or any European teams at times from taking respawns off of top North American teams has been that slaying factor. Like usually we'll talk about the fact that they can win games while being outslayed. They're not coming in and, outslaying by 20, 30 kills and dominating on a map. I think Scraps provides that potential that was not there before. He was the hottest commodity, the biggest pickup. You heard myself, we've talked about it. Joe, you have. Nameless has talked about it on the show as well. He was the biggest hot kind of free agent, even though he wasn't really free agent. That hot commodity you could try and go after.
He's an upcoming star.
And Red got him. So I could not feel better about this. Will it work out? I mean, it should. Maybe not, but they should be very, very good.
I'm so mad. So mad. I thought I was so sure you were going to give it like a C or like
What?
Why?
Like Why?
B. Just because
You
that's
know
the way
how I am.
That's the way you work,
Well,
right?
you went to an A+, Ben, so that's another end of the spectrum.
Yeah, it is, and I give it an A+ as well, which is why I'm so angry.
You guys are killing me. Stop.
This squad looks so good on paper. Now, Josh, as a player, as a leader, fantastic. But you bring in this just raw talent that Scraps has. We've seen him do it against the best in the world so many times on the biggest of stages. He is such a talent. And the key thing that I really want everyone to focus on here was the community, I feel, as a whole kind of got their pitchforks out and was saying, Red's making a change, get rid of Joe, get rid of Joe. He's the one that needs to go. I'm so happy they didn't. He's such a key component to that squad. You saw Rated even kind of tweet out as well, say, we need Joe. We need a player like him.
You live by Joe, you die by Joe.
How much easier, I think, does Joe being there on the team still make it for Scraps? Because we know Scraps is a very slay-heavy SMG. He is not going to be the guy necessarily always making the right play or the guy that wants to be first in necessarily, but having Joe flying around and he just has to worry about picking up kills, picking up streaks, just be that dominating superstar force we've seen him be. I think it's great. Like, you need your sort of, like any sport, you're kind of role player, and then you have that, the guy that picks up kills. And I've always been a guy that believes, is it a four-man effort? Yes. But if you have one superstar AR, one superstar sub on a team, you can sort of make it work. I think about the NFL. Like, if you have one, like, I'd say you have a stud offensive line.
Well, they have
you can make an offense
superstars.
decent behind a stud offensive line. Like, if you have that core there with one really good AR, one really good sub, I feel like you automatically have very good potential. So I'm
and look at the flex player. The flex player of this team is 0.
Yeah.
And I mean, the past couple of years, you could say he's been the best talent in Europe. You can argue that. So on paper, this team does look great.
It's weird though, because you don't really need 0 to be that hero of kind of like last year, if you will. You don't need that really this year. Can he do it? Of course he can. But I think this Red Reserve squad with this move just solidified themselves as the best team in Europe by a landslide, in my opinion. I don't think it's close anymore.
On paper, I think we all agree. We'll see. Who the hell knows?
But this is
on
the
paper,
thing.
we all agree.
Have they had their inconsistencies this year? Yes, absolutely. We can't argue it. I had them coming in as favorites to win an event, and when you go back to Birmingham, they crashed out in just crazy fashion.
Just a little bit.
But I think it's only a matter of time before we get that kind of clicking performance where everything just goes right for this squad. And hey, guess what? We're getting close to that time of the year again. Could it be champs where Red Reserve go on a big run? Could they be a European finalist? I mean, we've had European finalists in a lot of our majors so far this year. Red Reserve, to me, look fantastic.
You both give them an A+. I'm both going to give you a 1 point because you tied. Clint, you were going towards it. There was a bonus point in there for one of you. But the big thing is this is Scrap's first tier 1 team. This is his first opportunity. He has had no drama, no beef with any of these guys on this team because he's never even had an opportunity to play with them. This could be Scrap's potential. This could be his year to put Europe on the map. Yes, absolutely. Next team up, Luminosity Gaming. Octane was traded to Optic Gaming in exchange for Formal. Thus, JCap, John, Slacked, and Formal make up the new LG squad. For the past 2 seasons, we have seen Luminosity as an org. Yeah, they've won a couple events, but they were becoming more and more known for just falling a little bit short in those tournaments. And well, they're hoping Formal will be able to get them over those humps. Ben, what do you got?
This is a weird one for me because obviously we talked about Optic Gaming earlier on, and I already said, for me, Octane is an upgrade. It's just as simple as that. So you kind of want to go, this year. You want to go a little lower on the scale, but then at the same time you have Formal now, who's one of the greatest FPS players of all time, who's going to be, let's be honest, a little pissed off with how things went down. Now, that hunger, that desire, and that drive is going to be pretty strong. So it goes from maybe being like a C grade, as crazy as that sounds, maybe up towards a B. But then it gets a little bit more interesting as well because you now have Formal back, obviously boots on the ground, with kind of his mentor. First event he ever won in Call of Duty. You go back to Call of Duty Ghost. Jacob, Joe, you yourself.
His mentor's sitting here. Not
all right, fair enough. I'll give you that name as well on that squad, the old Gfinity. So he's kind of back to a teammate he's already won with, especially on boots. So to me, that's very, very exciting. The LG squad, Joe, you mentioned it yourself. They've had those performances this year where they've just kind of fallen a little short. Does Formal provide a winning mentality? Absolutely. There's no one on this planet or universe that can argue he doesn't. I think this is a squad which, when we talk about maybe Anaheim, maybe even Stage 2, they have a great chance of winning. Champs, I don't know yet. I think it's too hard to judge. We have to wait and see the performances before we get there. But I think I'll give this maybe a B+.
Okay. All right. I'm giving it an A. And I feel,
of course,
with the Octane Formal thing, I felt like both teams won out in that part of the trade, in the sense that Formal wanted to leave Optic. Octane obviously wanted to leave LG for it. They both get two of the best ARs in the world. So I think it works out for both teams from that standpoint. Another reason I like this for LG, and one thing you kind of missed, Ben, is we know the rumors, and it wasn't just a rumor. Optic wanted John as well, and they weren't able to get John. So they're able to keep John there and also get Formal. Formal is not a sweetheart, and I can tell you he wants to destroy people now. I mean, when he texted me right after things went down, he basically texted me, it's time to remind people, ... Like, he wants to remind people that he is God, because there has been like a little bit of a, not a question mark, everyone knows how good he was, but because of the role thing this year, like, I feel like his value, his value is a little bit lower than normal.
Slasher is better than him. Octane has been better than him this year.
And I feel like these next 3 months, though, he is going to come out to make sure there is no question at the end of World War II that he wasn't the best. And will he do it? I don't know. But if there was one person I wouldn't want to deal with pissed off, he's on a short list, man. I feel good about this for LG. I think they absolutely still have potential to win. Some of my favorite gunfights from last year were that Formal versus Octane, so I don't think there's much of a drop-off there. I feel good about it, honestly. I'm excited to see what LG can do.
Absolutely. So we got an A from Clint. What was it? A B+ from Ben. I'm going to have to give Clint the extra point. So 2 points over to Clint, one over to Ben. I think the big thing is they hang on to John, and then you have two consistent role players in Slacked and JCap. So we have a tied game so far. But I think another big thing for Luminosity is they don't go until Division B, right? They're the second group that goes into the Pro League. This will allow them an extra time to get that practice in. Let's be honest, Formal hasn't practiced that much this year. These guys are going to have a different play style. It's going to take time for him to adjust. I think Division B is exactly where they need to go. Last question, last chance to win, last chance to get time in the Smack Talk winner's circle. Ben, you're up 1 point, but guys, what I want to know is from the end of Stage 1 until now, who's the biggest loser of Rostermania? Benson, you're up first.
So many times on this show, I've been up going into this final round, and
is this where you lost it, Ben?
Clint often accuses me of playing it safe, and I think there's a couple of safe answers out there, and I'm going to go with something completely curveball.
All right.
That I don't think either of you will expect.
Now just remember, before you make this decision, you're up 1. Playing it safe might be the better play, but let's see what happens.
I'm going to say Unilad. This is a team which I know neither of you probably think I was going to say, and the reason behind that
I just didn't think of that, but that's actually a good
is you lose your greatest asset. Sorry to the rest of the players, but you do. This went from a team in Stage 1 where we kind of sat watching them going, hold on a minute. Wait a minute, this is a team which could make it to playoffs, to hold on a minute, this is a team that could potentially, win a major. That was a conversation that we have had at some point during this year.
Yeah.
You have lost the best player in Europe. I think it's hard to argue otherwise. He is that good. And you've lost it to a big rival, but you haven't replaced it really with any big substance. There's no content. Exactly. At first you think, all right, well maybe it could be a simple trade. That doesn't happen. To me, this squad went from, all right, this is a good team, which we could see get some very good results, to I don't even know anymore. Top 16,
they were
24?
working their way as the best team in Europe.
They were close. They were very close.
close.
They had some great results against some of the best teams in the world, and they just lost their best asset, and there's nothing really to fill it in. And to me, you go from, potential pushing top 6, top 5,
sure,
to top 24, top 16. I don't even really know where to put them anymore.
I like that answer. Mine's similar in a way. The scale's just a little bit different. I'm going to say Team Caliber. Now, hear me out a little bit. And this is just kind of talking about the year. So you're a team, it's a little bit different because at least you mentioned in yours, they lose their biggest asset. At least here for Team Caliber, you keep your biggest assets, for me, which would be accuracy and Kenny. So you keep those, which is good. The reason I think it's Team Caliber is purely look at the start of the year. They win 2 events, right? They make these changes then before Seattle, and you think, okay, this could work out, maybe not really sure. But then after that, you lose the big piece of it that you got in Methods, and then Enable comes in, which we all agreed is kind of a downgrade. So it's just like, you kind of mentioned that you were talking about Unilab being a team that can fight for top 6. Now you're not sure where they are. Team Caliber, for me, was a team fighting for best in the world. Yeah. I don't think they're there anymore. So is this a knock against Enable or the Team Caliber organization? Not whatsoever. It's just you went from maybe the best team in the world to now, once this Rostermania is done and this is what you have the rest of the year, I don't view it as a team that's going to win anything. I just don't. So that's
And I think for TK as well, if you look at their Seattle performance, pretty solid throughout group play, and then you look at the winners bracket, they lose winners round 1 to Ghost Gaming. Great performance from Ghost, but you feel like if TK wins that one Saturday night, they go into Sunday feeling confident. Look at that bracket. It was a weird one. I think this team had a ton of skill. They could have went on a big run. Maybe they're not even in this position to make a roster change. But our winner is going to be Benson. Ben, you caught me off guard with the Unilad one. I have to agree with you there.
I don't know why. I was surprised too, but that's a good answer.
I love this scratch.
You said it, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Here's the thing, though. I think Enable, we talked about the meta. With 2 ARs, I think this team is going to be fine. You still have Kenny and Pharaoh. They can go off at any point. They can fight for top 6. I still think they can make a run in a championship. I'm not going to say that they're going to win one, but they're still going to be very talented. As you said, Ben, I think the biggest point is Unilad. We went from getting better and better to we don't even know where they are right now. So go ahead and put on your Astro A40 gaming headset because it's time now.
Enjoy it,
for
Ben.
the Smack Talk Winner's Circle presented by Astro Gaming. Ben, your 30 seconds starts right now.
God, it's been a while. It's been so long. Normally I have to sit here and listen.
How
to
long has
Clint
it been?
Go. I don't want to know,
Oh,
Joe.
geez.
I don't want to know. Normally Clint takes it, and to his credit, he's had some good runs on this show. But I feel like I was rubbed last week, and I'm annoyed at you, Joe, because a lot of people agreed I should have won. But that's not what I want to talk about. Instead,
it's 1-1 now, right? Like
exactly.
The season's
Nothing
reset.
else matters. It's 1-1 as the season stands. I want to give some love to Nameless. I know we're supposed to talk some smack here, but everything Nameless is doing in the community right now is fantastic. You guys run the podcast as well, the show. You guys have done a fantastic job. It's exactly what Call of Duty Esports needs, that extra content, just the passion as well that you get to see from Nameless. I'm honestly so excited to see the rest of the year for him. He's a player which I've loved watching compete for so long, and I'm just excited to see just like a big uprising this year for him. Not necessarily playing, but on all the extra stuff. I think it's so important for COD Esports, and I'm excited to potentially be working with him.
Shout out to Nameless. Also, shout out to Karma. I mean, the guy's a beast. 3-time champ, world champion. Well, I'll be excited to see where he ends up in the future.
Probably casting with me, Joe.
Yeah, maybe. See you guys. No, I'm just kidding. Shots were traded and CWL was debated. We'll be back next Monday. GG.